Hey, all my fantasy football friends. Welcome to the Multiple Firsts Dynasty Football channel here on YouTube. This is Tony, Stosh on the Sleeper app, coming to you with what is my 11th video for Dynasty Football content. Can't believe we've come so far, having a blast making these vids. But today, we're going to be looking at a draft board for a league I recently finished up, the Fire League. Let's take a look at the draft board right here. So, I wanted to break this one down for you because I think it's a pretty sweet league. In this league, we have the rookies baked into the draft process here. Haven't really done too much rookie content as far as where they may slot in and where their values are amongst the other players. So I wanted to break into that. I wanted to give you guys my takes. This is a $25 startup we did. Finished up about 4 days ago. The last pick came off the board. This process went pretty quickly. I think we banged out this whole draft in less than a week's time. But I just think it was a cool board, so I wanted to break it down for you. This is me. We got sat in the 1.4 slot. Of course, we traded out of our first 2 rounds. We took our long-term draft strategy here, where we gain a lot of future picks and load up on young players and rookies for the 2023 class. So let's take a look at how the team landed before we get into it too deeply. This is a team right here, Fire League. I love the name for this. I hope it never changes. The guy, Levy, is the commissioner, and he was just a really cool dude through this whole process. Really smart guy. I can tell he's commissioned other leagues before. He knew what he was doing. There was no real drama, but he kept things in line. Kept everything running smoothly. Managed the clock well. Didn't let any crazy stuff happen. So really good job, Levy. But a team landed with before we look at the players, take a look at the picks. Managed to get eight 2023 first round picks throughout the process here. Loving that. And then we picked up 4 2023 second round picks. And then 2 extra 24 seconds. These were kind of throw-ins in some different trades we made. But I'm really stoked about some of the rookies we got. Really happy with the way this thing turned out. Yeah, Trevor Lawrence, Kenneth Walker, Jameson Williams, Juju, Christian Watson, Alec Pierce. This guy's a sleeper right now. If you're drafting with the rookies live, you should probably be looking to get this guy. He might slide into the second round of the NFL draft. Damian Pierce, another kind of sleeper type player I'd be looking out for if you're drafting right now. Of course, we got Malik Willis. Picked him up in the 5th round, 503. I think that's a really safe spot to get this player. This is my first official share of Malik. This is the first time I've drafted with these rookies, and I was happy to get him there. Now I'm really happy that or I'm really hoping that Malik lands on the Steelers. That's where I really want him to go. The Seahawks would be fine. Detroit would be fine. Carolina would be I think Carolina is my least favorite landing spot for a quarterback this year. New Orleans would be sweet. But really hoping he just finds a home in Pittsburgh. Mack Jones. A couple random throw-in guys. Rondell Moore. Parham. Westbrook Akina. This is like my most owned player at this point. Pretty much got him everywhere now. Abram Smith. Don't even know who this guy is. We got him in the 21st round. Whatever. Ty Davis Price. Really not even sure about this player either. But I watched a Chris Sims breakdown of his top 5 favorite running back prospects, and this dude was number 5. So I don't know. In the 24th round, I guess I'll take Chris Sims' word for it. But he's 6'1", 230, and I'm pretty sure he ran a pretty good 40 time. So that's nifty. So the real theme of this video, the real unique thing that we're going to present to you today is I wanted to do this draft process with the idea of my strategy, my long-term strategy can be effective in any league, regardless of the quality of trades you get for the most part. Throughout this process here, I made, I think, 11 total trades. 17 trades were made in the league as a whole, and we're going to look at all 17 of those. So we'll get into that in a minute. But yeah, with this league, I took a lot of trades that were really tight, very, very close, real razor thin margins, not these big sweeping victory trades that I've posted on my channel along the way, or that I advocate for you to go get. Um, sometimes it feels like this strategy only works if you're taking advantage of a league with less experience, or an individual player with less experience. You only have to get 2 or 3 routes in a trade victory throughout the draft process to really get huge. And typically you're only going to get those routes if you're dealing with inexperienced players. So what I want to do here is I want to showcase that you don't have to only be trading with inexperienced players. You can do this. You can get 7, 8, 2023 first round picks in a league that has a bunch of sharks in it. You can go out there and get that. And this league did. I felt like this was a very strong league as far as smart players, people who knew what they were doing. I was trading with guys who, most of them are in 3 or 4 years worth of dynasty or longer. A lot of these guys have 20 plus leagues. So yeah, I don't know any of them. This is 11 perfect strangers to me. I think I've seen Titans fan once in a league a couple years ago, but I pretty much just jumped into this league through the live chat, the league finder, and yeah, $25. We jumped into it, paid 2 years out. Nothing real crazy scoring wrinkles. You're looking at 6-point passing touchdowns, 1 point for an interception. I think that's a little overtuned. I'd probably turn up interceptions to -2, but whatever. Full PPR, half-point tight end premium. Nothing super crazy. There's no bonuses at all for long rushes or anything like that. Big game bonuses. Really straightforward tight end premium league. Starting roster: 2 RB, 3 wide, tight end, 2 flex, quarterback, super flex. Pretty much ideal. This is exactly what I'm looking for. On the bench, I think we're looking at what? 12 bench, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13 bench, 4 taxi. You want your taxi to be the same number as your rookie draft rounds, so we do a 4 round rookie draft, so get 4 taxi here. Pretty straight up. A little bit bigger of taxi, but a little bit bigger of a bench, but that works in our favor. Yeah, we'll talk about which individual picks we took along the way, but we'll start looking at some of the trades. So I moved out of my 1.4 slot, and I traded with this guy, the Solo, and the deal we made was for his 3.7, his 6.6, and his 2023 first round pick for my 1.4. That's a 3-for-1 deal we made. He took Jonathan Taylor. Had I not made the deal, I would have taken Joe Burrow. But just as I say that trade out loud, you might already be thinking, boy, that's pretty weak. And that's fair if you think that. Like I said, I really wanted to make some tight trades. I wanted to really toe the line as far as what is an effective trade, just to prove a point that you don't have to be dealing with lesser players. So this guy's really smart. You could tell from the board he drafted along the way. He was active in chat. He said he's like a 4-year plus dynasty vet, and I believe him. This is a deal we made. I'm perfectly comfortable with it. I like it. We're gonna look at some calculator breakdowns of it, but I just want to talk about like how you go about trading your pick as far as you actually find a deal. So when the draft fired up, these 3 picks came off the board pretty quickly, and as they were coming, I just started sending off flyers. I will literally send out 11 flyer trades to all of the 11 other people in the league without any sort of negotiation or anything behind it. And I'll usually, since it's a top 4 pick, I was sending out like a 3rd, a 5th, and a 9th, and a 23 first was like the deal I was trying to find. Pretty much everyone was declining me instantly. That's fair. I mean, those are not super good trades for those people. But a couple guys, we started firing offers back and forth. A couple guys hit me in the DMs. When you are doing something like that, you don't want to be too liberal with your counters off the rip. I'm willing to bleed out about an hour of clock for my pick. I'm not going to sit there for 2, 3, 4 hours, and I'm only going to take that hour in the first round. I don't like being the guy who holds the draft up for a long time. These 3 picks came off quickly. Like literally all 3 of these were made in about 5 minutes. So that kind of pinched me as far as the amount of time I had to find a deal. And I found my trade in about 30 minutes. Typically, I will take up to an hour to make the first trade. But something I hate that I see people do a lot is they say stuff like, my first round pick is on the block, or like, they'll say something like, 101 or 103 on the block at all, right? They'll do shit like that, do stuff like that, and they just expect people to make them offers or DM them, and I think that's pretty lame. I wouldn't be expecting a deal if this is the kind of stuff you're putting out there like this. What you want to do, what I like to do when I'm gonna find a deal for my first round pick, is make a real sales pitch where you have a clear ask in mind. So what I'll do, since it's the 104 we're talking about, is I'll do something like this. So I'll do 104 on the block, period, looking for a package around a 2023 first round pick. So that way they know that you want a first plus some vets in there. I do not need a vet first in return, so people know you're not looking to swap down. You're looking to find some third or fourth round pick. Also open to other deals. Hoping for a 2-for-1 or a 3-for-1. Hit the DMs or flyer trades are cool at all. Fair offers only. So this is a very clear ask to the league. Okay, if you're trying to move your pick, you need to be putting something out there like this, so people aren't just dealing with you in the dark, so it doesn't look like you're trying to price gouge someone. Okay, transparency builds trust. You want your league mates to trust you. You want to trust them, and not so you can swindle them, but so you can actually work with them. We're not looking to gouge people. We're looking to make fair deals, and yeah, I think something like this is very, very clear. When you put something out there like this, people know, hey, this guy wants like my second or third, plus a 23 first, plus he probably wants something else, and that's a very, very clear ask. They're looking at the board, they're saying just Taylor, Burrow, Chase, Kyler, all the Jefferson, all the big boys are still there. You put out a sales pitch like this, you're much, much more likely to find an offer. So we put this thing out there in chat. No one really got a hold of us at all. We sent out a bunch of flyers. Only one person countered me. That was the On Solo, the dude we ultimately made a deal with. We exchanged 3 or 4 different offers. Ultimately, I just sent this to him, 3-6, 23 first. He hit accept on it, and away we go. So, like I said, some people may hate this, and that's fine. We had a big discussion about it in chat, league-wide. Throughout the course of the whole process, this trade was brought up multiple times. And I just want to take a look at what some of the professionally curated tools have to say about it. I'm going to look at some different calculators. So I have 4 different calculator breakdowns for this trade, just so we can get an idea of the meta around it. Not a single one of these trade calculators is gospel. Nothing on here, no matter what any of these numbers say, I don't care. None of them are going to dictate what I do as a player, and they shouldn't do that for you either. But they're going to give you some perspective, give you a greater view of the trade you're looking at as a whole. So the first calculator we're going to look at is a common one, the Dominator. This is sponsored by RotoWorld. It's in the App Store. You might have this calculator. It only recently started doing startup picks. I've had this calculator on my phone for like 3 or 4 seasons, and it only added startup picks in the last like 12 months. So the Dominator thinks we're losing this trade pretty poorly. All of these calcs have Superflex tight end premium settings turned on, except for KTC, but we'll get to that. Yeah, this thing is saying that I'm losing 467 to 544. This is a margin of about 15%. Talking about the 31st player, the 66th player, the 23 first in exchange for the 104. Like, that's fair that they say this. I think this is an okay perspective you could take. A person like the Anzalo who accepted the deal, this is the perspective he's taking. Like, hey, I'm getting a nice win here, and I'm also adding an elite talent while winning the trade. So it's definitely something I want to do, and that's fair. The 23 first value here is It's baked in as a mid first, without a slot assigned to it. You want to assume mid to late, considering you're given the person you're trading with is going to get stronger because of what you're giving them. A higher pick. This is the Angelos team. I mean, Taylor, Chase, Stafford, Gibson. Like he drafted well. Um, so this is one take. I think it's important to remember that, the 31st and the 66th, this is only assuming that it's exactly those players. The top 30 players in this calculator went ahead. So it's not factoring in any sort of value that will fall to you in the third or sixth round. And it's also not factoring in this guy's team completely flaking out and the 23rd going to the moon. So this is one take. I think it's fair. Maybe you're someone who shares this vision of the trade I made. That's fine. We're going to look at the Ktc breakdown of it. Keep Trade Cut doesn't do startup picks, so what I had to do is go and I looked at their 31st player, Devontae Adams, their 66th player, which is about David Montgomery. He's right in there. And then we got a 23 first, and we just plugged it in as a late. So what you're seeing here is Jamar Chase with this value adjustment of 5,600. So 14K to 14K, even. This is even trade. Jamar Chase was their number 4 overall player. I know homie took Taylor, but this is what KTC dictates our trade was based on their player rankings. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think this more accurately reflects what we did, where it's pretty even. That's where I'm at with it mentally. I think we made a fair swap. I didn't get some big win, and neither did he. And this is what I was looking to do from the start. Like I said, I just want to make even trades along the way to try and impose my strategy. Yeah, it's wild though. This value adjustment plus 5,600. This is KTC trying to tune the deal for the fact that there's a stud moving with nothing else baked into it. I mean, I looked, and 5,600 is like T. Higgins is a player they have at this value. I mean, a top 30, top 40 player. Yeah, I don't know. This is why I don't advocate trading up because, like, yeah, it looks even, but you're assuming you're getting like a T. Higgins worth of value for free. I mean, in a straight league that's only starting 2 wide, 2 RB, 1 flex, probably a value adjustment like this is fair. Probably saying a 3-for-1 like this is fair because when you're starting lesser player, you're starting less total starting slots. You got to be taller. You got to have the creme de la creme of players because the tallest guy's going to win. The depth matters significantly less in that scenario. When you're only starting 5 skill position players. In our league, we're starting 7 with 3 wide. So the wide receiver value in general gets jacked up. Maybe that puts Chase, closer to this 14 number. But you're going to want depth in the league we're drafting. So that's what I was able to acquire by going wider in our 3-for-1 deal. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this value adjustment. This is some secret sauce that KTC is throwing out there to say this is even. Yeah, we'll see. This is another trade calculator dynasty process. This one's interesting because you can tune it. You can tune it for how much you want to weight future picks, how much you want to weight stars and things like that. I pretty much just have everything tuned to medium settings when I did this one. So Dynasty process the 104 for the package. It's saying that the package is worth a little bit more. I mean, 5K, 2377 plus this, it's like 86 to 93. Okay, 7% I'm losing. The Dominator one said I'm losing by 10%, 15%. Like, that's all fair. KTC said it was even. Holistically, this is just trying to get a whole picture. I think our trade was even. And, when we're looking at all these different calculators and what they have to say, I think it would agree. So the last one I want to look at here with regards to my trade is Dynastytradecalculator.com. This is my preferred calc for trading startup picks and for moving players. Like I said, none of them have any real bearing on my decisions, but as far as the first calculator I check, if I'm only going to look at one calc, it'll be DTC. I really like the way they value stuff. I don't know. I like the way they value startup picks. I think every calc has its own merits in a different way. I think the Dominator is really good at trading top end talent. I think the Dominator can rate. I'm sorry. I think the Dominator can rate low end talent very well. I think the Dominator sucks with top end talent. it doesn't really weight wide receivers properly in the Dominator, and it doesn't really value the top end talent in the league properly. It's wonky. It overvalues elite talent in my opinion in the Dominator, and similarly, you know, Dynasty Trade Calculator doesn't really value low end talent at all. It doesn't. When you're talking about like trading a third round pick for a player, DTC is not going to give you an accurate read. It's gonna fail. It's gonna drop the ball pretty hard because it doesn't know what it's doing. Once you get down in players that are like outside the top 150, versus the Dominator, if I'm gonna trade players outside the top 150 for like lower picks, if I'm trying to trade like my late second and my late third for these two guys on my other team, like the Dominator will give me a really accurate read of that deal because I think it lines up the lesser players very well. But so this is what DTC has to say about the deal we made. So the 104 startup, 307, 606, 23 first. Now this one is the first of the four that says we're actually winning. So this one has me winning by about, I don't know, the same 10-15% margin. The 23 first is a little bit overweighted. As you can see, the 23 first is worth more than the 606. I don't think that's true. I would never trade my 606 straight across for a 23. In years past on DTC, a year away random future 1 is worth like 17 points. Okay, so we're seeing like a 6-point kicker because they're trying to wait for how good the 23 class is. That's really, really hard to do. So you're saying if this was like a 17, okay, that drops this down to a 70. And then if we're assuming late to mid, it could drop it another 5-10 points. So we'd be looking at an even trade. And again, that's what I think happened here was an even trade. Now, the real upside and the real breakdown from this is my side of this allows me to snowball trades, okay? And we did that throughout the process. We traded the 606 off for a package, and then we traded one of those picks we got in that package off again. So, like, we're going to continue to deep dive this. This is DTC valuing the trade in terms of players. So their number 4 overall player is Jonathan Taylor. Their number 31 player is Cup. Their 66 player is ETN, and then 23 first again. So pretty similar. I mean, 59 to 76, 55 to 73. When you put players in it, it makes it look a lot closer, which is what I would expect. So just to give you a perspective of the way DTC values stuff. And the way this trade looks with players in it. I know it can get kind of dry, just constantly looking at these numbers. Taking it a step further, this is the trade in reality of our individual draft board. Okay, so with the third he gave me, I ended up taking Justin Fields. That's right here, 3.7. Obviously, I moved that pick later. Justin Fields, 3.7. In the 6th round, the 606, I did move that pick, but had I not moved the pick, the 6 starts over here. Walker, Jacob, Zeke, Hawk, Moore, Corral. I moved the pick to Jeff Robine where he got Corral. If I had stuck and picked here, if I'd sat right here and made a selection, I would have taken Garrett Wilson. This was my pick, was Garrett Wilson. So for the sake of this trade, I plugged him in there. So this is what the trade looks like with players baked in who actually fell. And this is what I'm talking about, where you can't take it at face value on the other calcs because it doesn't bake in falls. Justin Fields, in my opinion, fell on the board to me. I've been seeing him get into the 4th round, so maybe his ADP is just dropping right now. But in my opinion, Fields fell to me at 3.7. In my opinion, Garrett Wilson fell to me a little bit. Obviously, I didn't even take him, so it wasn't that big of a fall. And then the 23 first again, I think is a little overvalued, but still 55 to 79, 55, 73. Like really, we haven't ventured that far away from the initial deal we made. The trade we got for the 6th round pick was a 23 first and the 1203. And then we moved to the 1203 for a 23 second. So all in all, when we finished snowballing trades like I wanted to, this is what the trade ultimately came out to be that he and I made. Taylor in exchange for Fields, 2 firsts, and a second. So now, this is 46 plus 34, so we're talking a little over 80. We bake this thing in, this 8 points from the second, be 90 something. So now we're talking about, at least within the realm of this calculator, I got almost 2 for 1 overall value. That's interesting. It's interesting. It's not true. It's not helping me win a championship because all my values, 3 out of the 4 assets here are a year away. But it's it shows you the path that we walk in order to get to this really high overall team value place that we're at. And I just want to take a look at that to show you. So this is dynastyranker.com. We've used this website before. They weight future picks. This is all based off KTC, which we looked at the trade calculator from earlier. And we can see that Stash is the number 2 power ranked team in the league. Now, this doesn't factor in rookies at all. The rookies are not in KTC yet. So I have I have Jameson Williams, Kenneth Walker, Malik Willis, a couple other lesser guys like Pierce and Watson. I've got like 30,000 more KTC points to be added to this because my rookies aren't reflected. So in reality, I'm like 25 or 30,000 KTC value points ahead of anyone else in this league in terms of overall team value, picks, and players baked in together. And this is how we got there, is by making snowball trades. And like I said, we did it, and we made close deals. Every single deal we made, with the exception of maybe 1 or 2, really towed the line for what an acceptable trade should be in terms of startup picks. So I think that's really covers that as far as the first round trade. But it all has to do with what you're trying to do. Like I said, when I got into this, I was trying to toe the line. I was trying to go long. I was not trying to be competitive. If you're trying to be competitive, if you're trying to win a championship in the first year, this whole thing I'm breaking down is just going to be a waste of your time, because you cannot do this and think you're going to be a title contender in the first year. You can't. And I wasn't planning on being one. I do plan on being a title contender in the 2023 season, but we will touch on that more a little later on. So let's get into some of the other trades we made and the rest of the league made throughout the process. Well, here it is again. Onslow, Stash, 307, 606, 23 first in exchange for the 104. This is not for the faint of heart. If you hate this, let me know in the comments. If you would take this trade for your 104, let me know in the comments. Second trade we made with the commish, Alivi. We traded our 209 for his 503 and 23 first. This is a smash. This is real good. This is us going down like 30 slots. And we're picking up a first round pick to do it. I love this. Alivi, he wanted to come up here and take CeeDee Lamb. I dropped into the 5.3 slot where he gave me Malik Willis. So Malik and a 23 first in exchange for Lamb. Which side do you want? There you go. This is one of the bigger wins. This is probably the biggest win trade for me, in my opinion, of all the ones I made. Maybe the biggest one. I don't know. We were trying to make close deals, but I was sending out flyers. What I like to do is I'll send out flyer trades as this board comes down to me, because I want what you want is these people who are picking in this area to have the option to accept your trade as they pick, right? So right about, I'm sitting here in the 2.9 slot. As Kyle Pitts or Stafford are coming off the board, I'm sending out trades to these people saying like, hey, I'll give you the 2.9 for your 5th or 6th and a 23 first, right? And I only got about 3 flyers shot off before Levy just hit accept on one of them, which is all good playa. So this trade was not one of mine made. This is the third trade that happened in the league. This is Radioactive Emu receiving Evolution's 23 first in exchange for his 512 straight up. So this sets a market. This is a market setting trade for the league. This is telling everyone, this is broadcasting the league, hey, in this league, as far as I'm concerned, Radioactive Emu says, my 512 is worth a 23 first straight up. This is interesting, man. This is, if you're a newer player in the league and you see something like this, it helps you get an idea of what your 23 pick may be worth. Emu's a smart guy. He knows that he wants to gain some 23s, and I don't blame him. Evolution's a really smart guy. He's looking really big in this league, and he thinks he can get really good value for making a move like this, and I think he can. I mean, we'll look at the 512 that ended up being Derek Carr, but it could have been, Walker, Zeke, or Hawk, Elijah Moore, maybe a Judy or Godwin Falls in a different iteration of this league. Could have been Cousins or Corral. Could have been Pickett, McLaurin. Michael Pittman's flying up draft boards. Any of these guys straight up for a 23 first, and I think those are all fair. I think those are all pretty fair one-for-ones. But I think those are all fair one-for-ones in an established league. Okay, we're not in an established league though. Okay, we're only 5 rounds in. At the time that deal was made, we weren't even 3 rounds into this whole draft process. Okay, so that's why I would not. Even I'm someone who loves to collect future ones. I'm not sending my 512 straight across for a 23. Straight across. No way. No way am I doing that, because you're telling me I gotta wait a year in order to make my 512 selection. That's what this trade implies. And in my opinion, that year of time, that 12 months of time, has a lot of value. Maybe not a lot of value, but definitely significant value, tangible value. Um, where especially so with tangible value in mind, I need something to cover that gap. I want a 10th round pick with this type of deal. I want a 12th round pick with this type of deal, because I'm waiting a whole year, and you're being privileged enough to basically have your 23 draft right now. I'm allowing you to draft a player off my team with your first round pick in this deal. So you got to pay some kind of tax for that privilege, in my opinion. Also, I don't know where your pick's going to land, Evolution, if I'm Radioactive Emu. So, like, I would not make this deal for sure if I knew it was like a bottom 3 pick. That seems not good for me. I'd rather have a Walker or Judy or any of those other players we mentioned than make this deal. So you got to give me something to cover that time and that risk, both. Okay, that's why I'm taking 2-for-1s. Every time I'm getting a 23 first, I'm trying to get a 2-for-1, 3-for-1 as part of the deal. Next trade we made, so this is Radioactive Emu. He turns around and he sells me Evolution's pick like not even an hour later. I offer my 3.4 on the block, and he sends me the 601 and a 23 first. This is Evolution's pick, not Emu's pick. So I've mentioned this before. People are much more inclined to move picks that aren't their own, especially if they start getting cold feet as far as what a dude's team's starting to look like. I'm sitting here in the 3.4 slot, and I'm waiting on Trevor Lawrence, really hoping Lawrence would fall to me. Commissioner snipes me. He knew he was sniping me. I mean, that's why I imagine he took Lawrence at all, was to, I know it says Lawrence. I didn't have Lawrence when this happened. We make a deal later on where we swap Fields and Lawrence. But, once Lawrence comes off the board, I'm pretty sad. And I'm not willing to take T. Higgins up here. I'm not going to take Metcalf or Fields up in this spot. I shop the pick. I get a nice trade, a 601 and a 23 first, and we move along with our day. Radioactive Emu comes up to take Devontae Adams. It's all good. This is 2 bread and butter deals we got, where they're actually pretty plus trades. Probably the 2 of all the trades I made. These 2 were the big plus ones. The second swap off and the third swap off. It kind of makes me think about the strategy as a whole. In a league like this, looking at how this whole thing maybe played out, it might have been better off for me to just sit at the 104, not take the deal I did, take Burrow, right, and then take the 2 trade-offs that I got from the second and third, where I got a 6.1 and I got a, what did I get from Levy? This 5.3. I still got pretty good trade-offs. I could have had Burrow, still added 223 first, and been in pretty good shape. So maybe that was the play. But this third round keeps breaking down. I get Justin Fields here, and it keeps moving along. So next trade we see is another one that doesn't involve me. So this is Titans fan 1 and Evolution. Titans fan gets a 309. He trades off his 402 and his 602. So this is probably the most unbalanced trade that was made throughout the entire process. Titans fan gives up his 6th, his early 6th. You're talking about, the number 62 overall player in exchange for just moving up 3 slots. 5 slots. Is it 5 slots? No, yeah, 5 slots. So he wanted to do that to go get Jalen Hurts. He was getting cold feet, thinking Jalen Hurts might not fall to him. That quarterback thirst hit him. So Evolution picks up a 6th. 6.2 for doing that. I mean, you're thinking about, this is Josh Jacobs and Joe Mixon in exchange for Hurts. That's what this trade graded out to be. I think Evolution is the favorite to win this league. And it's because of trades like this, where he was able to negotiate a pretty good deal for himself. I mean, Titans fan 1, I don't fault you, because you wanted to get your quarterback sorted. So you knew you had the 311 where you could land one, and then you also could take Hurts here. But, to give up your 6th to move up 5 slots is rough for sure. Next trade, so Angelo and JWW. Oops. Angelo sends his 23 second and his 5th, and he receives a 6th and a 7th, 608 and 708, 608 and 705. So this is a home run for Angelo. What he's doing here is he's going down a round, and then he's being allowed to convert his 2nd round pick into a 7th. That's awesome. That's so good. So, like I said, where you're allowing someone to draft a player off your team, JWW is allowing the Angelo to draft off of his team with his 23 second, a 7th round player. And then the tax that Angelo has to pay for doing that is only going down from the 5th to the 6th. That's just so good for him to be able to do that. J-Dub went up to get Cam Akers, running back I'm sure he likes. He already had Brees. He's seeing these running backs start to dry up. Mixon and Eckler and Henry and Etienne are all gone. So he wants to go up and get his guy. And he also knows he wants one of these receivers, one of these elite receivers. He knows that the receivers aren't gonna come around to him. I mean, in reality, they did, but it's all good. Well, he took a receiver first, then he took Akers. Yeah. Right before all this started happening, he saw the running backs were drying up. But this is Onslow got a lot of value for his 2nd. I mean, you could look at the deal in the totality as Kirk Cousins and Dalton Schultz in exchange for Cam Akers and a 2nd round pick. Yeah, I don't know. Back to my deals. So moving on, I'm sitting here as this draft continues, and we're going down in the 5th round. That deal happened. Judy goes. I'm sitting here, and I have, I think, 4 6th round picks at this point. I own the 601. I own my 609. I have Angelo's 6-6. Three 6th round picks at this point in the draft. And I'm seeing most of the rookies are still there as far as the big time rookie receivers. London going, obviously. But Evolution sitting here at 512 takes Derek Carr, and I am just ecstatic to take Kenneth Walker at 6'1". I think this is a mega value. This guy's probably my favorite player in the class upcoming. I really just think he's going to explode onto the scene. As you can see, I got him at 6'1". Breece Hall goes at 2.8. So you're talking about from the running back 2 in the class to the running back 1 in the class is like a 3.5 round difference. There is not that much difference in between these two players. I think the Breece Hall hype is a little overboard right now, and Walker is not really hit his stride in terms of people falling in love with him yet. So I was happy to be able to get Walker ahead of the curve here. In Todd McShay's mock draft that just came out, his 3.0 mock that came out on Friday, Walker goes to the Chiefs in the 2nd round. Walker goes to the Bills in the 2nd round, and Hall goes to the Chiefs. They go within like 5 or 6 selections of each other, and I think that's what we'll see in the NFL draft. There's even a real chance that Walker gets taken ahead of Hall, depending on what team wants to do with the guy. I mean, it could happen. Probably people out there grimacing, saying, "No way, Breece is the man." I'm here to tell you that Kenneth Walker is better with the ball in his hands than Breece Hall, and I'm not even hesitant to say that in any way. If you're telling me I don't need my back to be a pass catcher, I don't need my back to have insane straight line speed, I just want a guy who I can hand the rock to 20 times on off tackle runs throughout the course of a game, I absolutely would rather have Kenneth Walker. Absolutely. If I have to get 5 yards in order to put my team in the Super Bowl, it's 4th and 5, and we have to get this first down in order to go to the bowl, in order to win the title, I would rather hand the rock to Walker than Breece. I think Walker stands a better chance of getting me that play. There's probably a higher likelihood of Hall scores a touchdown on the play because of his speed. But, Kenneth Walker is just the man. I mean, I named my team after Walker after I was able to pick him up here. That's me cheesing about that a little bit. But he was the only player I really wanted to make sure I got out of the 6th. This thing was coming down. Boopa doopa doopa. This comes down here. I start calling out in chat, hey, I'll move either of my 2 6s for a 23 first plus a 12th. And I got 2 hits on those deals. And we'll take a look at them now. So this is the 606 in exchange for the 1203 and 23 first. So like I said, this is the 606 we got from the Onslow earlier. Like I said, I got the 12 and 23. This is that deal when Jeffro goes up to Matt Corral. That's just a Jeffro going on a get your guy type deal. In most leagues, this probably fires off as the first for the sixth as a 1-for-1. I would never do that. I would much rather sit and pick and take a guy than make a 1-for-1 trade. And you know, I'm sure there's people out there saying, well, does the 12th really tip the scales for you? And yes, I'm sitting here saying yes. Like, there's still value to be had in the 12th round. The value doesn't really dry up entirely until like the 16th, 17th round. The 12th is still second round players as far as like second round rookie pick values. I want this. I would, if he wasn't offering me the 12, I would not have taken a 13. I would not have taken a 14. I would have not have taken a 23 third. I would have taken a second if this was a 23 first and second, and we ultimately do convert this 12th into a second. So we get the deal we want. He gets the deal he wants. It's all good. If you're sitting there and you want to sell your pick for a 23 first and you got someone on the hook who's interested because they're DMing you, you can ask for this and they'll do it. Okay, they're going to be all hot and bothered to move up there and go get something. And when you're sitting here and the sixth round's coming off the board live, and all of this is just empty space down here, they're going to say, oh, the 12th is stupid. I don't care about the 12. I'm going to just, I'll throw that to you in order to force this trade through. And I'm saying, pay the tax man. So, thank you very much. We made the same exact deal later on. We moved our 6-9 for a 12-11 and 23 first. Same thing. Logshell wants to give me his first. He's seen other people do it. I've mentioned this in previous videos. There's a snowballing effect. The people who, this is the only trade he made, was doing that with me. So as he's sitting here drafting his column straight down the list, and from a good seat. He's from the 102 seat, so he has all the advantage in the world from you know, a game design standpoint. He's in the 102. He should have one of the strongest teams. All things considered, all things being equal, no one makes any trades. He should be one of the stronger teams in the league just because he's in the 102 spot. But he's seeing like this big haul that Evolution got earlier, this haul that Onslow got from me and also from JW earlier. He's seeing, you know, the trade I just made with Jeffro, where Jeffro's able to go up there and get another pick and infuse his 12th in order to get this 6th. So Log is just a victim a little bit of the competitive mentality of saying, I'm not going to go down quietly. I'm not going to go down without a fight. I want to win a title this year. So I'm going to move my pick. I'm going to go up there. That's why we do it. That's why we take tight trades early to break the ice in order to get the snowball rolling. We're seeing a lot of these plus trades along the way because we already had the snowball rolling. And once it's rolling, it does not stop. Next trade, Allevi, Evolution. So Evolution gets another pretty good infusion here. He sends off his 23 third and his 8th, and he gets a 10th and a 9th. So again, Evolution's going down from the 804 to the 904. He's taking a 12 round slide, and I'm sorry, a 12 selection slide. And for taking that slide, what he gets to do is use his 23 first to draft a 10th round player off of Levy's roster. It's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome. It's not insane. It's a 10th. I'm not trying to overstate it. I mean, you're talking about a guy who's like the 10.10 is the 118th player. So it's not crazy good, but it's pretty solid. I mean, you know, Levy, he wants to go up there and go up into the 8th and get something. I'm not sure what he wanted. Looks like he wanted George Pickens. I think he paid a fair price to go get Pickens. I mean, as you can see, it ended up being Tom Brady in his slot. So, I don't know. But, yeah, he wanted to go up there and get Pickens. He wanted to secure one of these rookie wides. He didn't have one yet, and he saw them all getting scooped up. So I don't hate this for Levy. I'm just, this is how Evolution got to where he is. So this is me making another deal with Radioactive Emu. So this is probably my least favorite trade personally. There's two trades that I really don't like, and neither of them were that first round deal. We're about to get to each of them. This is one I didn't like that much because I'm moving 2 of my upfront picks and I'm getting 2 futures. So this goes against everything I said earlier as far as time having value and whatnot. I'm giving him my 809 and my 1203, and we're getting his 23 first and 23 second. So, I'm just going down 2 players. I'm getting nothing for the time spent. I think it's really good value on my first to trade it to swap it for an 809 straight up. I think that's pretty in my favor in terms of just value for value. And then I think that my 1203 is worth a little bit more than a second, but it's okay. All things being equal, I think this was even. Emu was a cool dude. He was like pretty nice guy to talk to, pretty easy to negotiate with throughout the trade, throughout the whole process. We made a deal earlier in the draft process, so anyone who I've made a deal with before, I'm likely to make a deal with again. But he took the 12. He gets this 8th. Dallas Goedert and Tyler Lockett. So I mean, there you go. Goedert and Lockett for 23 first and second. That's a trade. Which side of it you got? Let me know in the comments. You want Goedert and Lockett, or do you want a random first and second? It's close. It's close. It's tight end premium league. It's super tight. Could go either way. The overall format of this trade favors my build, so that's why I did it. I like getting his first and second. If his team flakes, if this is an early first and an early second both, and this is a home run for me. If they're both late, then hey, it's not as good, and that's fine. Had I sat in the 8.9 spot, probably would have taken Spiller or Ayuk, one of those 2 dudes. Maybe Juju. I probably would have taken Juju, but I would rather have a 23 first straight up than any of these players. So it's K. So this is a backtrack offer that occurred while we were going through the 8th or 9th round was breaking down. PTDRW, the guy who's in the 1.8 slot, he only had Lamar on his team as we're getting through this 9th round. So he saw Brady and Mills both get sniped in front of him. He didn't want to take Matt Ryan. He doesn't want to take Sam Howell. So he hits me up and says, hey, can I have Zach Wilson, please? Because at the time, your boy had Fields, Mack, Willis, and Wilson. I had all 4 of these QBs, and I said in chat, I'm down to make a deal for one of them. I like to be plus quarterbacks. I like to have 4 of the safe quarterbacks so that I can make a plus deal to trade one off. I get his 23 first, his 23 second, and his 24 second for Zach Wilson in my 1609. Super tight trade, super even. 2 seconds in a first. I like this because, like I said, if his team really fails, goes to crap, then I have a lot of juice from him. I'm going to sell one of these quarterbacks off anyway. Of the 4 I had, Zach Wilson is the one who's most likely to be moved. This was fine. I think it was a pretty friendly deal. I think each of the last 2 trades I made were very friendly from me to the other guy. I was not price gouging in any way. I think I was being super kind, and that's what I wanted. Like I said from the break, I wanted to make close deals. I wanted to toe the line the whole way through. My big mantra for this whole draft process was, do not let perfect be the enemy of good. So, was that Jonathan Taylor trade earlier, was that perfect? No. Was it good? Yes. Was this deal perfect? No. I want some vet pits back. Did I get them? No. But it's still good. This deal. Is this ideal, awesome value for Zach Wilson? No. Is it good? Yes. It is good. It's good. It's not great. It's not perfect. It's just good. So, that's why we did it. So this is your boy trading up. This is a super simple 2-for-2 repositioning. If ever I want to trade up in a draft, this is exactly how I do it. I never give up a 2-for-1 like I try to ask for from other people. So I'm trading up to go get Christian Watson. I don't know. We had just finished filming our wide receiver video breakdown, and I really like Watson this year. I'm not going to stand here and say this guy's going to be a Hall of Famer or even an elite talent. I'm very intrigued by this prospect. I wanted to get him on this team in particular. So I swapped my 10.9 up to the 10.3, and I moved my 12th down to the 14th, my 12.9 to the 14.3. So I go down a round and a half here in order to go up 6 slots here and get my guy Watson. I'm down for it. This was a very friendly trade as far as I'm concerned. If ever I'm trying to trade up, that's how I want to do it. I want to get a swap within the round and then give that person a payment of some sort of swap up later on, like a 2-round swap up somewhere else. That's how you trade up gracefully. Yeah, it was awkward taking Watson here because Claypool went later. I mean, Chase Claypool basically is Christian Watson, except he's 2 years longer in the league. So this is a little bit of hype, a little bit of overhype that I'm kind of biting the bullet on as well. Um, I didn't even let this thing come all the way down to me. I just sent him this trade right as soon as Watson picked. But if Claypool hadn't made this to me, I would have taken Claypool and probably not made the deal. But Gabe Davis in the 10th round is a good pick. I definitely like my trade that I made better than sitting and taking Tony or Cooks or Miles Sanders. I probably should have just sat and taken Dotson. Once the NFL draft happens, Dotson might get first round, you know, capital, and it's going to make this trade look pretty stupid. In 2 years, Dotson could be substantially more valuable than Christian Watson. Substantially, like that's possible. Dotson has that kind of talent, and Watson is that kind of risk. But made the trade. I don't feel bad about it at all. But there's definitely tight. Definitely tight. Definitely, I kind of forced it. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of jammed it. Didn't have to do this. Should have sat here and taken Dotson almost certainly, but it's all good. So now we get to some lesser trades. This is me feeding Evolution a little bit. He gives me his 13.4 for a 23 second. I mean, or I give him my 13.4. So he wanted Njoku, 23 second. Bang, bang. It's fine. If I'd have sat and picked, Trubisky goes ahead, I probably would have taken like a Hunter Henry. When we're looking at the rookies, Mechie, Robinson, Kyron, these are all 3rd-round rookie picks. James Cook, he might get 2nd round. He might be a 2nd-round rookie pick. So might Algier eventually. I'm going to take one of these guys instead. But I'll take a second for my 13th. It's all good. I want that roster spot. I want that future pick, and I'm not really sweating any of the players down there. It's pretty much a similar thing here with Angelo. I send him my 14th. I get a 24 second and a 23 third. So really, really similar. It's just a second in exchange for my pick, but he's giving me a third to make up for that year of time difference. This is the deal we made for Lawrence and Fields. So Levy hits me up. He sees some player that he's hot on that he wants. It's James Cook at my 1409 spot. So he's saying, hey, how about we swap Fields and Lawrence? Those are the thirds here. I'll give you Lawrence, you give me Fields. That's what he's saying. And you come down 2.5 rounds from your 14th into 17th. And that seems pretty fair. Like, I think Lawrence definitely has a much greater outlook than Justin Fields long term. Or at least, has a higher percentage of success, in my opinion. We had discussed a swap, in the earlier rounds that kind of set the table for this trade ultimately. But I'm happy with it. I got off James Cook, and I go down to the 17th, and I get Trey Sermon. It's fine. I mean, Sermon sucks. Whatever. He's gross. It's all good. He's still only 23 years old and a 49er, and we'll see what happens with him. But yeah, to take a 2.5 round slide and upgrade from Fields to Wilson, 2.5 round slide way down here in the nothing part of the draft. To move from Fields to Wilson is all good. It's all gravy. And then we'll see Levy sends off his 23.03 in exchange for the last 3 picks of the draft from PTDR. So he's just filling out his roster. He was down to some roster spots, I think. So now he has to make that back up. Yeah, that's the draft process. As far as individual picks, I mean, I wanted to touch on something here, which is, as you can see, my first 3 picks I made were 3 quarterbacks. I had this 504. I took Wilson, like I said. But there's only like 16 or 17 super safe quarterbacks in the league, guys. It's like not even 20 of them. Okay, the line kind of ends with like Kirk Cousins and Derek Carr. I mean, Brady's kind of an outlier, but as far as like safe guys who are safe to be starters for their team in 2023, there's only a handful of them. There's definitely not enough to go around. So when I'm running this strategy I'm talking about here, where I'm going long, if there's one of those safe quarterbacks who's a long-term starter for his team on the board, I'm just going to take them, and I'm going to take that player until all of those quarterback types are gone. All right. I mean, I took Walker over Cousins here. I mean, I love Walker, so it's all good. But like, I see Mack Jones fall through like the third round. Mack Jones should be like a middle third pick, in my opinion. Trevor Lawrence should be a high second round pick. I'm not taking any of these skill guys over any of these quarterbacks, especially when I'm doing this build. But even if I'm trying to be competitive, there is nothing wrong. In fact, it's recommended to just take 3 quarterbacks with your first 3 picks. If you're going to draft a column straight down the list, okay, if you're not planning on trading at all, just take 3 quarterbacks in a row. Literally. Like, if I could sit here and take Lamar, and then take Lance, and then take Hurts or Tua or whatever, if I'm PTDR, or if I'm log, and I can take Mahomes, and then I can just take Lawrence and then take Fields. Like, I don't care about Swift and Waddle. Like, they're cool, but I just want 3 safe, awesome quarterbacks. Someone will ransom off for Fields for me later. When you're sitting here saying, I'll just pick up a quarterback later on, you're just rolling dice. You're adding a lot of risk to your build. It's gonna make you force a reach later on. Just literally just take your QBs, guys. It's Superflex. Like, just draft them. Go get 3 safe quarterbacks immediately, and then the whole rest of your draft you can take blues and greens. Okay, the whole rest of the way down you can take all blues and greens. If a quarterback happens to be a value later, all of a sudden you have a 4th quarterback that you can then trade for even another ransom. So, like, yeah, general tip is just take your QBs, friends. Where are we at? Almost an hour long vid. Jeez, just to break down one league. Lol. So we will take another look at how the team landed in the Fire League. Lawrence, Walker, Williams, Juju, Watson. Didn't get a tight end. Faded tight end entirely. Probably going to get Michael Mayer next year. Probably find a trade eventually. I'm going to be churning the waiver wire. Maybe we'll find a tight end. I don't know. I wasn't trying to force tight end at all. I got some flyers that I like. O.J. Howard and McKitty and Parham and Troutman and Ricky Seals-Jones. All of them are younger guys. All of them have some talent. All of them have some chops. Yeah. Looking good. Last thing I wanted to leave you with is I want to talk about something that's been on my mind lately. So, me and Angelo, we had some heavy discussions throughout the draft process where he was just ripping on me that I'm not going to be a championship contender in the next season. And maybe I won't. I mean, it's a fair stance to take if you think I'm not, especially looking at the skeleton of a team I have right now. And I'm telling him I will. I do plan on being one. So he wanted to make a side bet with me. He wanted to bet some amount of money that he's going to have a better record than I am, or that I'm going to get a first round bye or I'm not. And I lean out of side bets. I don't like side bets at all. I know they're a popular thing on Sleeper because we're all degenerate gamblers. All of us. We're all degenerate gamblers. Don't lie to yourself. But in my opinion, there's plenty of honor. There's plenty of money. There's plenty of glory to be had within the confines of the league itself. You don't have to make a side bet. You don't. Regardless of how strongly you feel about something, you don't really have to. But people aren't going to listen to me. They want to gamble. So if you want to make a side bet, here's how you do it. Okay, first of all, you agree to some terms that are very clear and obvious. You set super straightforward terms. And then what you need to do is send the money to a third party, okay, be it the league's commissioner or just maybe a mutual friend of yours, but you want to each pony up your amount of the cash for that bet to a third party because, it goes without saying, people will welch on bets. They'll walk away from bets and not pay them up. So if you're both serious about the bet, you should both be willing to set aside that cash to someone who can allocate it later on. Yeah, and you also don't want to have the side bet be anything that's like league related. Don't bet your second round pick or your first round pick, for your side bet. Don't do that. That's really disrespectful to league mates. No, the friendliest thing to bet is the buy-in for the following season. And that's something I proposed to Angelo, is I'd be willing to maybe bet that with him. Our buy-ins for the 23 or 24 seasons. It'd be 24 because we should be paid for 23 before the 23 season happens, right? It might even be 25. Who knows? I'm just hoping the league lasts that long. But so it just it circles me back to an anecdote that a friend of mine from one of my leagues here. So Backyard Football. Good buddy, good dude I talk to pretty regularly. When Boz met Bo. He's a Cowboys fan. He's a good dude. And he told me a story that I want to shout out McNutted and Asterisk here right now. Guys I've played with before. And apparently, McNutted, Asterisk, and Boz on the other side entered into a bet where Boz bet that the Cowboys would win the NFC East last season. Nutted and Asterisk bet that they would not win, that the Eagles would win the NFC East. Well, we all know what happens. The Cowboys won it. There was no money set aside in escrow, so McNutted and Asterisk both welched on their side of the bet, did not pay up, and then just bailed on the league. They each just left the league they were in with Boz. And that's not even a surprise to me. I've seen Asterisk just dip out and orphan teams in leagues where he started. He's kind of a sketchy guy. I've seen some sketchy stuff happen in leagues where I was in with McNutted also. So when you're making a bet and you're not putting money aside in escrow, this is what could happen to you. You're just inviting this headache, you're just inviting this hardship, this stress into your life by not setting the money aside. If that person's not willing to set money aside in escrow, then they don't feel confident enough about their bet, plain and simple. And clearly McNutted and Asterisk didn't feel confident enough, and then when they lost, they left the league. So that's not cool, and that can just be avoided by not making side bets at all, which is the recommended stance I think you should take. There's no honor system in this game. There really isn't. I mean, you're talking about this app doesn't even hold the money. It's a third-party site that holds our money on LeagueSafe or whatever site you use. You can get your money refunded off that app pretty easily, just by causing a fit with one of the admins over there. You can change your name on Sleeper pretty easily. You can always leave a league on Sleeper. There's almost nothing anyone can do about it. You can change your profile picture. You can just become a whole new person so quickly, not only on Sleeper but just on the internet. So don't make side bets. And if you are gonna make them, then set the money aside because that's the only way to guarantee payout. We're at an hour. I'm going to cut it off there pretty quickly. I just want to shout out, I'm looking for some help for the channel. I'm looking for someone who can help me with some graphic design stuff without going on Fiverr and paying someone else. I'm looking for someone who's someone I already know and who might be interested to grow with me on the channel. I need some help making thumbnails, making graphics for the rankings and stuff. Like a social media coordinator would probably also be baked into that role. Someone who can help me grow the Twitter space and the TikTok space, in the podcast space, and then also a good fantasy mind. If you want to be a part of the show and actually come in and break down leagues with me and talk about trades with me, that's on the table too. But the biggest thing is that graphic design element. I'm really looking for someone who can help me make thumbnails and stuff. I'm pretty basic with it, and I'm learning, but I don't have a lot of time. With the new job, I started to really dedicate the time I need to learn in that software. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, please hit me up on Sleeper. It's StoshX, STOSHX. Just DM me on the Sleeper app, or leave a YouTube comment that says you might be down for it. But that's gonna do it, guys. Hit the subscribe button. Become a first-round pick. Multiple firsts. Dynasty Football. God bless you. Have a wonderful evening.